may be a rookie, but I'm not a and that is a move. However you see it.
The other edge.
I don't know what that was.
Formula E is ruder than you think, and that also means that Formula E probably just isn't generally what you think as well. Now I want to start by saying the language used at that clip at the beginning for me is unacceptable. That is over the line. However, that sort of radio messaging is very, very, very common in Formula E. You'll see angry messages in every race, and it's a little bit surprising, right? Because Formula E is a green motorsport, it's all electric. They really have a very strong family side, they have fan villages. It's kind of like a family motorsport. However, the actual racing and the contact and the battling between the drivers, I think, is possibly the rudest and most aggressive motorsport out there. You have characters like Dan Ticktum, who is extremely fast, but also, I think it's fair to say, often extremely rude, and he has some of the most explosive radio messages that you can barely believe. This is a radio message from Mitch Evans, who is one of the fastest Formula E drivers of all time, not particularly regarded as being like a rude driver, but this is what he had to say, and guess what? I asked the driver who he was talking about what he thought of it as well.
The worst guy that was to be behind. Guys, what the f*** are you thinking doing this? Give me the risk. You need the f***ing risk. Stupid. No, okay, no gaps. Nothing. Stupid.
Brakeman has less than 2
Oh,
minutes
some guy,
remaining.
this f***ing idiot. He's the worst guy to be behind on this f***ing track. And you guys behind him. Guy can't even hit a f***ing apex. Stupid, guys. I'm f***ing waiting half his f***ing attack because of that. Look at this guy, can't even hit a f***ing apex. Thanks, guys. Honestly, really good. I say don't overreact, and look what happens. You behind this absolute idiot.
Why don't you did anything wrong? You didn't get a penalty.
No, exactly. So I know exactly. I don't know if all the people read the articles, but I do. I know exactly what I'm allowed to do in the race. That's why I didn't get a penalty also. And yeah, if the others don't like it, then maybe they should try it, because then. Well, then there are many drivers who did it. Yeah. That's why I got my experience. That's why I got overtaken many times on the races in the beginning of the season, because they go for a move for a gap which doesn't exist. Yeah. So you have to completely defend it like your life depends on it. And surely not a few drivers were not happy. I guess you also think about Evans yesterday, but I think he was just frustrated because he could turn around. I think Evans was just frustrated because he got turned around, and then obviously he has to get his frustration off on the radio or on the media.
So why is Formula E ruder than you think? Well, firstly, it's as I explained, it has this perception, Formula E, of being a family-friendly sport. So you think of it as something that's a bit innocuous, and this all contrasts, it juxtaposes massive with that. But the other thing is that it is a brutal motorsport where you are doing often peloton racing, and that means if you were on bicycles, you would be rubbing elbows, rubbing shoulders. But here you're rubbing carbon fibre. They are going 4 wide into chicanes. They're all trying to maximise their energy regeneration. They're all trying to shuffle where they want to be in the pack. Sometimes they don't want to go forward. Sometimes they want to go back. They get incredibly frustrated when drivers around them are not playing ball or not, cooperating with their strategy. Some drivers will say the other drivers are idiots because we should all be saving right now. Some will say they're idiots because we should be pushing right now. So it's not like a Formula 1 race where it's generally quite spread out. Overtakes happen quickly. In a Formula E race, there are often hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of inverted commas overtakes, and that's all jostling for position, and it ends up spilling over on the radio, and you get incredibly dramatic messages like this.
Just a bunch of mate. So that's all I'm going to say. Honestly, race like a bunch of children, this lot. They really do. They race like impetulant children. It's pathetic. And then the race director just doesn't give anyone penalties, so they're just going to keep doing it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've had enough of this. I really have. Sucks.
So is this a problem for Formula E? I actually don't think so. Obviously, Formula E are leaning into this by giving people like Dan Ticktum such a platform, and I spent a lot of time with Dan, and he's a great character. I think he's a great asset for Formula E. I think he is uncontrollable. Formula E have already had to ask him to apologise this season for some things he said. That's just part and parcel of what you're going to get with Dan, because he's a real dude. So I feel like Formula E should lean into this. But it is a contradiction. For me, Formula E might want to let go of all of the family-friendly image. We're a net zero sport. You can bring all your family to the fan village and have a great time. And they might want to go for that bigger prize, which is say, we are the most aggressive form of motorsport out there. Yes, we're electric, but that makes it even more brutal. And I think that prize is up for grabs, especially as Formula 1 looks to be vacating it. Formula 1 is going to a very complicated formula in 2026. There's going to be a huge amount of energy regeneration on a per lap basis. Formula E is actually a lot simpler than that. Formula E is regeneration over a race basis, which means that the race kind of ebbs and flows. It's not like Formula 1 where you're going to have these moments where cars are going to be regenerating on the straight and there's going to be a very, very, very easy overtake for the car behind. Formula E is kind of like pack racing, so it's a little bit easier to follow in my opinion. And also, I think they should lean into the radio messaging. Again, I don't condone what was said at the beginning of this video. I think that was over the line, and I believe Pepe Marti, the driver, has apologised. But when there are raw moments like this, I think Formula E should capitalise it. It should get those out on socials. It should build up these drivers as personalities. They're all very, very fast drivers. It's arguably the fastest set of drivers in a grid in world motorsport. I think anyone who knows motorsport will recognise that is an arguable position to take. But I think they should lean into this rudeness, because I bet you, when you started watching this video, you had no idea that Formula E was so rude. So I'm going to leave you another message here, and make sure to follow me if you want to see more, because I've interviewed most of these drivers and I'd love to tell you more of their stories.